This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. 49-year-old Manchester Mason charged with murder. A 49-year-old Mason was arrested and charged with the murder of the 32-year-old Floyd Compass, otherwise called Pinchy, of 9 Miles, Manchester. Charged is Wayne Morgan of a Guava Road address in 9 Miles. According to the Mandeville police, Compass was killed in Spalding, Manchester on Friday, September 16. The police reported that about 8:24 p.m., Compass was at a shop in the area when Morgan entered and a confrontation developed. A knife was brought into play and was used to stab Compass several times in the upper body. He was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Man shot dead at Westmoreland tire shop identified. The police have identified the man who was gunned down at a tire shop in Petersfield, Westmoreland on Wednesday afternoon. The deceased has been identified as 28-year-old Dino Coke, a laborer of Darlington district in the parish. Reports are that Coke and the 2 other men were on their way to a football match when the Toyota Voxy motor van in which they were traveling in developed a punctured tire. The driver of the Voxy then stopped at the tire shop to have it repaired. Coke, who was standing outside the van with the driver, was subsequently approached by a man who brandished a weapon and opened fire at him. The police were summoned, and on their arrival, Coke was found lying on the ground suffering from a gunshot wound to his head. He was rushed to the Savannah Lamar Public General Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The other men were not injured during the incident. 16-year-old arrested for robbing man of Nike sneakers and Gucci slippers. A 16-year-old boy and a 36-year-old laborer have been charged with aggravated robbery after allegedly holding a man at a gunpoint and relieving him of his Air Force sneakers and Gucci slippers. Charged with robbery with aggravation and illegal possession of firearm are 36-year-old Edinze Fitzgerald, otherwise called Dino, a construction worker of Manor View Drive, Kingston 8, and the 16-year-old boy. According to police reports, on August 31, 2022, the complainant was in the process of making a delivery on Grosvenor Terrace, Kingston 8, when both accused, one armed with a handgun, held him up and robbed him of a pair of Air Force sneakers, a pair of Gucci slippers, among other items before fleeing the scene. Fitzgerald and the teen were later apprehended in the Manor View Drive area in the parish. They were charged after being positively identified in an identification parade. Their court dates are being finalized. Man gunned down in Steertown. A man was shot and killed in Steertown, St. Anne on Thursday morning. The deceased has been identified as 28-year-old Odini Mundles of Gasto in the community. Reports from the St. Anne police are that about 10:30 a.m., residents heard loud explosions like gunshots coming from the area. When the shooting subsided, persons went to check the area and found the Mundles' body lying in a pool of blood. The police were summoned and Mundles was transported to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. Investigations are ongoing. Cocopee's family killer to learn fate on October 20. Rashane Barnett, the man charged with the brutal murder of his female cousin and her 4 children in Cocopee's Clarendon in June, is expected to learn his fate for the crime in just under a month. At a sentencing hearing Thursday, Director of Public Prosecutions Paul Llewellyn withdrew the death penalty as an option. Barnett's guilty plea, the DPP said, automatically ruled it out as an option and recommended that the 23-year-old serve 60 years and 9 months on each count of murder before he becomes eligible for parole. DPP Llewellyn said that penalty would be justified given the ages of the victims and the manner in which they were killed. The victims, his cousin 31-year-old Kimisha Wright, and her children 15-year-old Kimanda Smith, 12-year-old Shirley Smith, 5-year-old Raphael Smith, and the 23-month-old Keshawn Henry Jr. were found dead inside their homes. All 5 were stabbed multiple times. Their throats were also slashed. Wright received 48 incised wounds to her neck, chest, abdomen, and limb. Keshawn Henry Jr., 11 incised wounds inclusive of an incised wound to the neck, Kimanda Smith, 9 incised wounds and 4 stab wounds, Shirley Smith, 22 incised wounds and 2 scratches, and Rafaela Smith, 5 incised wounds and a gaping wound to the upper neck. Barnett is set to be officially sentenced on October 20. Llewellyn, at the sentencing hearing, said the court sought to move quickly in closing the case against Barnett, as it was a very heinous matter that energized the public repulsion. Barnett, for whom prosecutors originally sought the death penalty, pleaded guilty to 5 counts of murder when he appeared before Supreme Court Justice Leighton Pusey in July. In the meantime, defense attorney Tamika Harris recommended that Barnett receive a sentence of 45 years before being eligible for parole, arguing that he saved the state a lot of resources with his early admission of guilt. Police seeking BMW X5 driver involved in Westmoreland fatal crash. The police are seeking to find the driver of a black BMW X5 SUV who fled a Westmoreland crash scene in which 2 motorcyclists were killed. The police say the vehicle was found abandoned with the license plates removed. Those killed are 18-year-old Dominic Brown of Hopewell District and the 65-year-old Balfour Tomlinson of Norman Manley Boulevard in Negril, both in Westmoreland. The Negril police report that about 12:20 on Tuesday afternoon, Tomlinson and Brown were traveling on separate motorcycles along the Retreat main road towards Negril when they were hit by the SUV. It is reported that the SUV driver lost the control of his vehicle and crashed into a motorcycle being driven by Brown. The out-of-control SUV reportedly continued along the roadway and then crashed into a second motorcycle which was being driven by Tomlinson. Both motorcyclists sustained multiple injuries and were rushed to the hospital where they were pronounced dead. The SUV driver reportedly sped away from the scene. The police say the vehicle was later found abandoned along the Norman Manley Boulevard in Negril with the license plates missing. The vehicle was seized and the search was launched for the driver. Severe weather alert is still in effect for Jamaica. The Meteorological Service of Jamaica says it is continuing the severe weather alert for the island despite a little change in the era of showers and thunderstorms associated with the tropical wave over the southeastern Caribbean. In its latest bulletin, the Met Service said the wave has the potential to develop into a tropical depression or tropical storm over the next day or 2. Unstable weather conditions are expected to spread over the Caribbean waters south of Jamaica within the next 3 to 4 days as the system moves westward. Fishers on the Keys and the Banks are advised to evacuate immediately and start returning to the mainland. Other small craft operators in coastal waters are advised to return to port, and the small craft operators who are in port are advised not to venture out. TAJ rounds up alleged tax cheats. Almost 24 people accused of not paying various taxes were taken into custody early Thursday morning during coordinated operations in St. Catherine. The operations are being conducted by Tax Administration Jamaica's Special Enforcement Team. Already, more than 20 people have been taken into custody, according to enforcement sources. It is reported that over 40 people could be in custody at the end of the operations. The accused tax sheets were expected to appear in the St. Catherine Parish Court earlier today. Major ganja bust in Clarendon, 7 arrested. The police in Clarendon have seized an estimated 900 pounds of compressed ganja. 7 persons were taken into custody in relation to the recovery. The police say information was received and a team deployed. It was reported that on Wednesday morning, 3 cars traveling in a convoy were seen along the Bustamante Highway. All 3 vehicles, including a grey Toyota Noah, were intercepted in the vicinity of the Cool Oasis service station and searched. According to the police, a larger quantity of ganja was discovered inside the Noah vehicle. The drugs were seized and the occupants of all 3 vehicles were arrested. The police say they remain in custody and are to be processed. Ammunition recovered in St. Catherine, a man being sought. Several rounds of ammunition were seized by the police on Terminal Road in Old Harbor Bay, St. Catherine. The police report that about 10:20 p.m. on Tuesday, a team on patrol observed a motorcyclist riding along the roadway and signaled to him to stop. The rider reportedly, however, disobeyed and sped off. The police gave chase, but the man escaped. During a subsequent search of the area by the police, a bag was found with 12 12-gauge cartridges. The search for the suspect continues. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.